Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and I'm here with my special guest,
Marie.
And we're going to be talking about WandaVision, the Marvel series that just had its final episode last week. So I'll let you start off with your initial thoughts. Marie, what did you think of this series?
Overall, it was very slow to start. Initially, I almost didn't want to watch it. But overall, it got a lot better. It became more entertaining, and you kind of started to understand the pieces of things. So yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, my thoughts on it as well, pretty similar. It was slow to start. I didn't know what they were doing with this series, with the whole sitcom setup.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, where is this going? I figured it was some kind of a false reality. Either they were captured or something like that. I knew that was the case, but I was curious to see where they were going to go with it. And overall, for the most part, I thought it was pretty good, but had a few issues with it that we'll get into in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, your only background, I think, with these characters is just their appearances in the MCU.
Yes.
Okay, so my background obviously goes back a lot further because I'm a comic book reader. So the first memories I have of WandaVision was Marvel Comics did a mini-series of Scarlet Witch and the Vision, and I had one or two of the comics in that series. And then they would always pop up, of course, in like Avenger comics and stuff like that. And the Scarlet Witch would pop up a lot in the X-Men comics because in the comic books, she's the daughter of Magneto.
Okay.
Her and her brother Quicksilver. Now, obviously, they changed that when they brought the characters into the MCU because at the time, 20th Century Fox had film rights for the X-Men. So they had to give them a different background. For the MCU because that was then owned by Disney. But now it's all under Disney, so I'm curious to see how it's going to go going forward. So now let's talk about some of the stuff we liked about it. What did you like about this?
At first, I kind of liked, as much as it was slow, I kind of liked, the kind of campiness of the way the episodes were done. It just kind of that nostalgia.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting to see more of Wanda and Vision. Because as someone who's only seen them in the movies, you don't see them much, right? So you don't know much about them. So that part was kind of interesting. And just kind of seeing her power. Because you don't, again, as someone who doesn't really know beyond the MCU, you don't know much about her or what she can do.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting that they expanded a lot upon her powers from what you've seen that she could do in movies. And one of the cooler moments of Endgame was where she took on Thanos, and I always figured that was the perfect Power Girl moment, was that one there, and not the shoehorn one they went with.
Yeah.
But anyway, that
felt
was
more natural.
Yeah,
more natural.
Felt a lot more natural. Felt earned, and she was mad. She was mad, and it was a cool scene. So yeah, it was cool to get to see this series. Now we're going to talk more detail about the show, so spoiler warning if you haven't watched the episodes. So like we said, it started off pretty strong, and didn't really know where it was going, and it did have points where it kind of dragged. Now, some of the cooler things I did like about it was they brought in Monica Rambeau as an adult, where she was a little girl in the Captain Marvel movie. And it seems like she's developed some powers in the series.
Yeah, from going in and out of the hex, as they call it.
Yeah, from going in and out of the hex. Yeah, so that's interesting because she was Captain Marvel in the comics back in the 1980s.
Okay.
Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel. She was like
second.
She was the second Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And so Carol Danvers is actually the third Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And from the looks of it, she's developing powers similar to her comic book counterpart, that she can manipulate energy or turn into energy kind of deal.
Okay.
So that's what she was able to do in the comics. So that was cool to see that. And it was kind of neat that they brought back some other characters from the MCU, like the Asian guy who was from Ant-Man,
FBI guy,
and then the girl from the Thor movies.
Yeah.
The one I can't remember her name, but
I know the actress's name, but I don't. Darcy, I think, was her character's name.
Oh, okay, yeah, she was from the Two Broke Girls TV show.
Kat Dennings.
Yeah, Kat Dennings, that's her name. To bring that, so just those little things that make it feel like more like a shared universe.
Yeah.
So that was I like that, and it was cool to see the Vision. Of course, Paul Bettany's perfect as the Vision, and so yeah, those were some of the things I really liked about the series. What about you? Other things that you thought you enjoyed about this miniseries?
I think I enjoyed some of the same things. Like I liked that they kind of brought different people in from different movies.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't place the FBI guy. I knew I'd seen him somewhere, but I couldn't remember which movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Kat Dennings' character, like, that was Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of, like I said, I also enjoyed that. I also kind of liked, like I said, like that campy, even though they were really slow in the beginning, I kind of liked the weird, campy, old school TV style thing that they were going with. So it was interesting, even though I was super confused as to what was happening and hoping it would pick up pace. I still enjoyed that. Like, it kind of brought a bit of nostalgia in.
Yeah.
Right, from when you're younger and things like that. And I loved, eventually, the more development that they brought in, right? You got to see what the heck is going on. And then as you kind of figured it all out, you were like, oh, like the storyline got better. And it got more, like it brought you a little more to the edge of your seat. You're like, well, where is this going?
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to fix this? Right? Like, what's happening? I mean, there was parts that they made bigger that I wish they didn't, but we can get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yeah, I just kind of liked the kind of campiness. I kind of liked focusing on them more. And then, yeah, those small little tie-ins from the MCU in general were enjoyable.
Yeah. One thing I really liked is that at the end of it, so spoiler warning, at the end of it, they gave her a costume that was closer to her comic book counterpart. And they actually call her the Scarlet Witch. Mm-hmm. Which in the MCU, she kind of had the same color scheme as her comic book counterpart, but she never really had a costume. Didn't look like
no,
like
she didn't have she's wearing clothes.
Yeah,
really.
She didn't have the headgear or anything like that. Where this really looked a lot, and I like the design of the costume at the end that she gets. I thought it looked really cool, and she looks like a proper superhero now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, I agree.
And I like the whole twist that they're going with, like making it her powers more magic based. Because they didn't really get into that part of it in the MCU either, so that her powers are kind of like more supernatural based and stuff like that, and that she can actually learn more
she
and
can
become
expand.
more powerful, like Doctor Strange kind of deal. That was cool. And I liked some of the twists in this too. That it was that Agatha was behind a lot of it.
A lot of the problems, things going wrong.
Yeah, manipulating a lot of stuff. And the other twist that she brought back her brother, but it was actually the Quicksilver from the X-Men movies.
Except that was more of like a trick, really, because they didn't really elaborate, it seemed like. Yeah,
it was a twist, but it didn't go in the direction...
It didn't go where you wanted it.
where you wanted it to go. So that's a good segue to talk about stuff that we didn't really like about this series, this first season.
The twins were really annoying.
Yes, yeah. Kids and TV shows are usually annoying.
I don't mind them all the time, but I don't know. I just found I just didn't enjoy where it went, and I found maybe it was just like I don't want to say that because they're kids, but I just found them annoying. Like the characters were kind of just too much.
Yeah, it's always hit and miss when they bring in kid actors or kids in it. It's not too often you can pull it off and it works.
And I feel like in a thing more superhero based, having kids in there kind of is off-putting.
Yeah,
because it doesn't fit.
No, because usually the kids usually come off as obnoxious.
Yes, and these kids kind of were.
Yeah, they kind of were. Yeah.
And I personally I almost didn't like the Agatha part of things, because to me she was just annoying. Mm-hmm. Like her character the whole time was annoying, and I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
But to me, I was like, okay, so yeah, you. Since we're talking about spoilers, yeah, okay, you're trying to steal her magic, right? And then what? And I kind of felt like they almost did her too cartoon character-y, like her mannerisms with her her witch powers or whatever. To me, it came across a little too cartoony.
Yeah, not threatening enough.
Yeah, I was like, you're not scary. I don't care about you. And I kind of felt like, yeah, it was like she'd even like do the evil witch laugh sometimes, like that, and you're like, really? Like, what are you doing? So for me, like, yes, that twist was interesting that there was another like magical person involved, but at the same time, like the way they handled their character, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me personally.
Yeah.
And I also didn't understand, and we talked about this, that guy, what was his name? The shield guy. The one that was like the bad guy. But
yeah.
again, I don't know what his point was.
Yeah, he was a really weak villain because he didn't really... I don't really understand why he was bad in the first place, or even what he was doing was bad.
Yeah, like, I like, okay, he wanted... You know, he had vision. He was trying to make it like Wanda stole him, but she didn't. Okay, yeah. So that's bad. But what was his, like, point? What was his end game in all of this?
Yeah, because basically it just seemed like he was doing his job by trying to recreate Vision and send him in to stop what Wanda was doing.
But then they made it also seem like what he was doing was nefarious, but you don't know why it's nefarious.
Yeah, they don't really elaborate on why it's nefarious. He's basically trying to get that thing shut down, the Hex, and stop Wanda. But then somehow that makes him a bad guy, but that's what the other characters were doing as well. Like, he wasn't a very well thought out bad guy.
No,
like, there's no
like,
turning
that part
point
was
where...
super confusing. Like, because, like, okay, yeah, you... Like, they clearly twist it, so you're supposed to think he's the bad guy, but I was I was like, what's his motive? I see that he's trying to shut down the Hex, but what's his bad guy thing that he's trying to do?
Yeah,
so I kept feeling like, am I missing something? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, he wasn't a very good villain.
Yeah, so I kind of felt like the two villains, quote unquote, they kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Like,
they did kind of suck.
Like, you weren't
she was a
feeling
little bit too
like
cartoony, and then at least her motivations were
clear.
You got
what she was trying to do.
She was trying to, like, get all of her
Wanda's
powers.
That's what she wanted. So you got her motivation, but the other guy, I was like, okay, so you say he's a bad guy because he lied about where Vision is, but why is he going to jail? Right?
Yeah,
at the end, they're like, he's going to jail.
But why?
For what?
For what? He was still doing his job, even though he was just...
Yeah.
They didn't agree with how he was doing his job.
I almost wonder, was something cut out that would have explained that better?
It would have made more sense. He was trying to take Vision's body and use it for his own...
Yeah, like if she...
Or something, I don't know.
If she had actually stolen Vision, and he was trying to get Vision back...
That would have made
nefarious
a little more
purposes,
sense. Yeah.
Okay, fine. But, like, yeah, I was very confused as to what his point... Like, what his bad... quote-unquote bad part was. So that's something I didn't like. Those two characters, for me, I was like, what? Why are you here?
Yeah. And then, the twist with Vision, too, that I forgot to mention is the introduction of the White Vision.
Yeah.
So if you don't know anything about comics, and you haven't been reading comics for a long time, and the only exposure you have to Marvel Comics is through the MCU, back in, I think it was like late 80s, early 90s, Vision's body had gotten destroyed, so they made him a new one. And the second body they made it for him was all white.
Okay.
And he had lost his memories and stuff like that. I tried to get his memories back. So they kind of brought that in this mini-series, that they recreated his body, but it was all white, and they sent him into the Hex to stop Wanda.
Kind of.
And bring down the Hex. I'm guessing that's why they sent him in there. But he didn't have any of his memories. But this White Vision's actually like the real Vision. Because the Vision inside the Hex is a recreation by Wanda. That's why he can't leave the Hex. Because when he left the Hex, he was like almost disintegrating. Because he wasn't like... He was a construct, same as her two kids. And so then they scrap for a while. But the thing about it is, like, Vision, they're both like almost indestructible. So they could pound on each other forever and can't really kill each other.
Yeah. So
it's a fight that's cool, but doesn't really go anywhere and doesn't feel like there's any stakes to it because, like, they're both indestructible.
Yeah.
So they ended up the other Vision of Construct one has to basically outsmart the other real Vision that has no memories, and he activates all of Vision's memories. And so that was cool, but now some of the things I didn't like, I'll get into, is the Agatha I thought was kind of a weaker villain, like played too much campy, too much kind of like for laughs or something, and didn't really have like a threatening vibe. Same thing with the sword guy. Oh,
sorry, I called it Shield.
Yeah, Shield sword. that director guy, he wasn't why he was bad or what he was doing, why that was bad or why he was even being like he had no motivations to me. Like he wasn't really well written, not really well thought out. And then the other thing I thought I didn't like, and that's so going to continue talking spoilers going into the final episode and where some of the twists go. They don't really go anywhere satisfying. No. So they introduce the, Quicksilver from the X-Men movies, played by the guy who played him in the X-Men movies. And but then he turns out to be, he just turns out to be like a regular citizen that was trapped in that town too, and his name is Ralph Boner. So they just made like a joke out of it.
Yeah.
Where you think they could maybe still go in that direction, but it doesn't seem like it the way they ended the series. Is that was a door opening to bring in some of the Fox X-Men characters from the Fox movies and open up the idea of like a multiverse and all that kind of stuff. So that twist didn't really go where you wanted it to go, and it wasn't really satisfying. Same thing with the Vision. He gets his memories back, so he's Vision again, essentially. Because the other Vision's just a construct Wanda made. And he realized, I'm Vision. And then he flies away. And
you don't know where he went?
You have no idea where he went. If he had all of his memories back...
Why didn't he come help Wanda?
Why didn't he come help... He
just disappeared.
Yeah, he just disappears.
And you don't even see him leave. It just kind of cuts, and then...
Yeah, where did he go? Like, he just left for no reason at all. I can't think of any reason why he would leave. He got his memories back. If he had his memories back, wouldn't he want to see Wanda immediately?
You'd think.
You would think, because now he knows who she is and he can remember her and all that. And but they just continue on with the Vision that's a construct. And so I don't know, that twist, I didn't really care for it. And I thought the final episode was pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah. I felt like, my secret hope originally, when you first saw the construct Vision kind of come out of where they were fighting, I was hoping that was the real Vision and that he'd somehow like changed his colors or something. Because I was kind of like thinking like, oh, it's going to be a surprise and she's going to find out he really is back. That was like my hope.
Yeah.
And then so I felt really let down because he just disappeared and you're like, oh, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
And then Agatha turned out to be kind of easy to beat. Or too easy, So I felt like the final episode, like, they were building, and then it was just nothing.
Yeah, like neither one of the villains, like, say this again, neither one of the villains were memorable. No. And like honestly, if you don't never see them come back in the series again, you don't care.
No, not at all.
Where like if it's a really good villain, you would say, "Oh, I want to see
where this goes." Yeah,
where this goes, or they fight that one again. But after this one, like you're not really gonna care.
I feel like the last episode, like the finale, kind of ended in a way that you were like, "Okay, and is it over? Like, are they planning another season?" Like, they showed the post-credit scenes, which I hate those things because I hate watching credits.
Yeah.
But they showed those and that kind of shows you something.
Yeah.
You hear those stupid kids.
Yeah, so I'm thinking
was,
like,
annoying.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, it just felt like they weren't leaving you hanging. Not enough. Yeah, you hear those kids with her witchy, like I was confused by that too. She's on the porch, but the witchy self is doing stuff.
Well, that's a thing. That's like a Doctor Strange thing because he can leave his body and go. Okay. So she's like in the astral plane. That's her astral project itself, like studying the book.
Okay, so fine. But even then, like, it doesn't leave you thinking there's going to be more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like, I left that thinking, oh, is this just a one-time thing?
Yeah, they left some stuff hanging, so for sure they're going to do a season 2.
Yeah.
I would think. And then also, Wanda is going to be in the next Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Apparently so. So yeah, but overall, though, it was still pretty fun to watch and entertaining.
I'll still watch the next season if there is one, for sure.
Yeah, if there's a season 2, I'll definitely check out season 2. So I think that's pretty much everything we got to say about this, so we'll wrap it up there. So that's everything we got to say in this episode. Let us know what you think in the comment section, and we will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.